When you need a ride, it's trusty and fine. Look no further, it's Scala time. Biggest boot in its class, oh so neat. Loads of legroom, stretch out your feet. Dubious looks might...
Hi, welcome to the channel. Hello. Hello. No.
You'll get there.
Hello, welcome to the channel. I'm Matt, and today we're going to be reviewing this, my 2021 Skoda Scala. So the first question that I should probably address is why, with all the cars that are available, did I choose to go for this Skoda Scala 1 litre SE, which is one up from the base model. So if we rewind back to 2021, we'd just come through a bit of a difficult time as a family, and I was between cars and I just needed something that was reasonably roomy, comfortable, but more than anything else it had to be cheap. And at the time that I bought this, Skoda were doing these on a really good PCP deal, so that was the main consideration I had when choosing a car. The other thing that I should mention is that I'd previously owned a few Skodas, and I'm a bit of a Skoda fanboy, to be honest. The experiences that I've had with the dealership have always been really positive, and so for all these reasons, the Skoda just seemed like a really safe place to put my money. Right, okay, that's enough about the background and enough about why I bought the car. Let's take it out for a drive and we'll crack on with the review. Okay, so the first thing that I think we're going to cover in this review will be the car's practicality. As I said, that was a primary concern that I had when I was choosing a car. We're a family of three, got an ever-growing 15-year-old son, and we have a dog. So whatever car we went for, it had to have enough room to fit us all in, and fit everything in that my wife likes to take with her when we go on holiday. And the Skoda Scala has a really decent sized boot. I think it's around 470 litres, which is, I'm pretty confident it's significantly more than anything else in the class. And then in terms of rear legroom, it beats everything else in the class, hands down. And in actual fact, it's not that far from the legroom that you'd get in something like the Octavia. It's certainly better than what you'd get in a Golf, and you know, tons better than what you'd get in a VW Polo, which is actually the platform that I think this car's based on, which blows my mind because, you know, it really doesn't feel like a small car on the inside. So moving on to comfort. Hopefully you can tell that the driving position is really good, and that's aided, I think, by the centre armrest. I don't know whether you can see that here, but it's a really nicely cushioned armrest that slides backwards and forth, so you can really get a nice comfortable driving position. The centre armrest means that your hand just falls naturally to the gear stick, and in this car I've got the 6-speed manual, which is really nice to use, but the whole ergonomics are set up so that you feel very comfortable, and it's a nice place to be. Now the driver's seat's comfortable, it's got lumbar support, it's well supported around the sides, but on longer journeys, and I'm talking, you know, upwards of say 2-3 hours, I have found that I get a numb bum, and nobody wants a numb bum. My wife also complains a little bit about the lack of support in the passenger seat, and in the back my son reports that the legroom's excellent, the seats are comfortable. Yes, he's missing out on a centre armrest, which is something that I think he would like, but he gets far more legroom than he would do in anything else in this class. So I can't really level any criticism whatsoever at the Skoda Scala in terms of comfort. It's a comfortable car for this price. Okay, so let's have a talk about performance. So this is powered by the 1 litre 115 brake TSI engine, and it's an engine that I was familiar with. It was in the last car that I owned, which was the Skoda Octavia Estate, and in that car it was mated to the 7-speed DSG, and it just gave an incredible account for itself. You know, a 1 litre engine pulling around an Octavia, and it did it really without any fuss. So I wasn't surprised that in this car it's really quite a fun little peppy unit. It's never going to be fast, but hopefully, I don't think you might not pick up on it, but I've just put my foot down at 40 miles an hour in third, and it accelerates up to 60, you know, without any kind of hassle whatsoever. It never feels underpowered. I think that's helped in large part by the fact that it's got 150 pounds of torque that kicks in at around 1500 revs. So it always feels, you know, willing to oblige when you want to make a bit of progress. On the motorway at 70 miles an hour in 6th gear, if you need to overtake some slower moving traffic, you don't find yourself needing to change down to make some good progress. Overall, I can't say anything but good things about the 1 litre TSI unit. And having also owned a car with, well, it's now the 1.5 TSI. When I had it, it was the 1.4 TSI with 150 brake horsepower. In day-to-day situations, I think that this 1 litre is practically as good. It's got a more enjoyable exhaust tone, and I think it's a really, really good engine. So yes, in terms of performance, again, I'm going to say that the Skoda Scala scores really high here. It's good in the corners. It's not a sports car, but if you're in the market for a Skoda Scala, you're not really looking for a sports car. I certainly wasn't. So what about the running costs? Well, I've had this car for 2.5 years, and I can tell you that it is very cheap to run. Around town, you'll probably get around 40 to the gallon, and on a motorway run, you should be getting in the region of 50 to 55. When I've tried to do a bit of hypermiling, I've even been able to get it up to 60 miles to the gallon on a longer run. I've replaced 2 front tyres. I went for I don't know whether they are a budget brand. It was an Exxon tyre, and that was about £70 per tyre. So, you know, cheap tyres. I think the standout thing to mention about the costs would be the insurance premium. Having trawled through Compare the Market, looking at various cars and getting insurance quotes for them, I've been horrified actually by how much premiums have gone up in recent years. But Skodas in general seem to be super cheap to insure, and the Scala in particular is really cheap. So if the rising cost of insurance premiums is something that you're concerned about, then this car really should find its way into your shortlist. Moving on to reliability and durability. So I'm on the motorway at the moment, and bearing in mind this car's 2.5 years old, I'll be interested to see whether you're picking up on any squeaks or rattles in this recording. I can't hear anything. The cabin's really well put together. Yes, not all the materials feel particularly expensive or classy, but overall it's a really nice finish to the trim, and most importantly, it's incredibly well put together. 2.5 years of family wear and tear, and you really can't see any signs on that. It looks practically new. So from a build quality point of view, I have nothing but positive things to say about the Skoda Scala. In terms of reliability, well, as you'd expect, it's only 2.5 years old. Absolutely nothing's gone wrong. No warning lights on the dashboard. The only thing that I did notice was that the air conditioning recently didn't seem to be blowing out cold air in the way that I would have expected. I put that down to the fact that the car does spend a lot of time sat on the drive, so I took that in and had it regassed, and everything's working fine now. Okay, so before we wrap up, I've got to talk about the one negative of this car that I've not really been able to get over, and that is the way that it looks. From the outside, I find that the rear end doesn't quite join up with the front end of the car that well. It looks a bit bulbous and ungainly. And the front of it, I just think that the designers were moving on to the sleek new design language that featured in the latest Octavia, but they somehow weren't quite there. And for me, the design, the exterior design just doesn't really work. I'll forgive all that, and I'll forgive that unsightly rear end on the basis that it does afford you a lot of space within the car, both in the boot and for the rear passengers. But that is the only criticism that I can level at the car. Okay, so let's wrap this up. As you can probably tell, I'm a big fan of the Skoda Scala. It's comfortable, practical, cheap to run, and quite fun to drive. I don't think that Skoda could have done much more really with the Skoda Scala. It's an excellent car. In fact, one thing that I'll just throw in there is that as I've been looking to perhaps upgrade to something a bit more luxurious, I actually took a Skoda Superb out, and I found myself disappointed with that car. Bear in mind, it was the 1.5 SE technology. It had leather seats. You know, it should have felt like a real step up from this, but actually it didn't, and it wasn't actually as good to drive. I think that's a testament to just how good this car really is. So given that it ticks all those boxes, I think we've got to be kind and forgive its looks. They do say that beauty is more than skin deep, and I think that's certainly the case with the Skoda Scala. So if you've come this far, thanks for sticking with the review. I hope that you found it useful. But do you agree with my conclusions? Do you own one of these, and do you have a different view? Please do let me know in the comments. And if you want to find out where I go from the Skoda Scala and what car I hope to be picking up in a week's time, then please do subscribe to this video and hit the notification button, and then you'll be informed as soon as I get round to putting the next video up. Thanks for watching. Have a great week. God bless.
But it's got charm and plenty of cars. Bulbous rear, a sight to see. Packed with space and practicality. Wow.